Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Your Hope for Tomorrow. So, for this week, as I was thinking about, the topic for this week, um, I decided instead just to kind of come on for a few minutes and offer someone a bit of encouragement, for whoever may be in need of it. So for me, the as I was thinking about, what to talk about, you know, um, me leaving the unhealthy, relationship that I was in came to me. And I don't know what you may need encouragement for, but it could be for any life situation that is affecting you or having, a not so good effect on you, but this is what just came to me as I continue to think about this. So, a while ago, for the Sisters Uplifting Sisters Facebook group, I did a series entitled Come to Yourself, Woman in the Mirror. Okay. So that series was based on the parable of the prodigal son in the Bible that Jesus, uh, told this story or parable, and then also it was based on the song by Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. So when and I yeah, so I entitled this video The Turning Point because I know exactly, what that turning point was for me when I knew it was time, to leave that relationship. So basically, there were some things going on, and throughout those things, really it was like I thought like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I subjecting myself to this, this behavior, and I just began to ask myself like a series of questions, and so basically, I said to and this is like an inner conversation that I was having with myself. Like I said, asking myself questions, and saying like, you don't deserve this, why are you subjecting yourself to this, and I said, you deserve better than this, and then one of the key things that I said is that God did not put me here for this, so basically, during that time of self-talk and having that inner conversation with myself, like I said, it became my turning point, but it was also, you know, me coming to myself. So like in the parable of the prodigal son, I don't know if I mentioned the chapter that is the book or the chapter is in, but it's from in the book of Luke, chapter 15. So in the story of the prodigal son, he went to his father and he asked his father, his father was wealthy, so the son asked his father if he could have his inheritance early. So the father adhered to his request and, gave the son his inheritance. So the son left his hometown with that inheritance and he went into another country. And so soon afterward, the Bible tells us, and I'm not quoting the story verbatim, I'm just quoting it as I remember it, and in my own in my own way. Okay, so so not too long after he, reached this country, he squandered his inheritance. He blew it. Okay. So now he's broke. He don't even have money to buy himself any food. And he like was basically destitute. So then the Bible tells us then he went and joined himself to a citizen of the country, meaning, he became under the employ of a person who lived in that country he was in. And the job that he had was taking care of, the swine, the person's swine, like I said, he was hungry. He was basically destitute without any money. And so I guess he couldn't, get any money until he did his job. So he was starving, this whole time. And it says that no one gave him or offered him nothing, So he was so hungry that, it's like he considered eating, the pig's food. He was just that destitute. So as he was sitting there going through his ordeal or thinking about his ordeal, he said, wait a minute, this, the Bible says he came to himself and said, wait a minute, the servants in my father's house, they're living better than this, and he said, I will arise and go to my father. So he came to himself like, wait a minute, why am I sitting here suffering? The servants in my father's house is living better than this. Yes, I'm embarrassed. Yes, I squandered the inheritance that I asked my father for, but I'd rather go to my father's house, and be a servant in his house than to be out here in this country, hungry, destitute, and without anything. So, like he said, two key things there. He said, the Bible says he came to himself, and then he said, I will arise, I will arise, okay, and go to my father's house. So while he was on his way home, he got close to his house, or his country or whatever. And his father saw him from afar off. And his father was excited and so happy to see his son, that they ran and met each other and began to hug and cry, weep on each other's necks, because his father didn't know what happened to him, like what he was doing, So the father was very excited to see his son and glad to have him home. So like I said, basically that was the turning point for me, when I began to have that inner conversation, self-talk, conversation with myself. And it was me arising pretty much, it was me coming to myself, and saying, wait a minute now, God did not put me here for this. I deserve better than this. And, I just refuse to put up with this any longer, and so after that, sometime after that, when I recognized, that I almost pretty much entered into a similar situation, then I began to examine, like, wait a minute now, like, why are these cycle of bad relationships repeating in my life? It wasn't the same, intensity of the situations, but at the same time, there were like, a cycle of bad relationships. So I began to ponder that and wonder, like, wait a minute, why, is this stuff happening? And then I recognized them as cycles and patterns. So that was another level of coming to myself. And that's when I cried out to God and I said, Lord, like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I just want to do your will, and through me coming to myself at that time, God began to arrange things to give me the change that I desired, and then it put me on a path of studying, like, why were these cycles of bad relationships as well as other things repeated in my life. And so, just like, I've been talking about the 4 contributing factors of domestic violence, unhealthy relationship blueprints and generational curses. All that came about by me wanting to understand why these cycles of bad relationships were repeated in my life and to be able to break free from them, So like I said, for whoever may be, um, going through a situation, that is really like weighing on you and causing you, duress or, anything like that. I just want you to know there is hope for you. If God could pull me out, and change my life, he can do the same for you. So I don't want you to give up. I want you to be encouraged, and I want you to listen to as much as this as you need to get the breakthrough that you need, to be able to have that turning point in your life, to come to yourself, and then also, like, with the song with Michael Jackson, Man in the Mirror. When I called out to God and said, I just want to do your will, and went on that path of studying why these things, kept repeated in my life, that was me taking personal responsibility for my life, and not concerning myself, no longer with the outside elements, but, focusing on me and the inner things that were going on in me that were causing these cycles to repeat in my life. So I had to look, myself in the mirror, and begin to go after, pursue, the change I desired. And that was, me, wanting to be free of those situations. So, like I said, if God could do it for me, he could definitely do it for you. If I could come out, and you can come out too. So don't be discouraged, be encouraged. You can do this. Okay. So, like I said, listen to this as much as you need, the past videos, that I've done. Listen to this as much as you need to, these things as much as you need to, so you can begin to understand, maybe some things about yourself in your life as well. So right now, I have 30 days of prosperity going on, in the Sisters Uplifting Sisters Facebook group. So basically, I'm talking about prosperity for 30 days, yeah, and it's been quite fun to do. So for those of you who are interested in listening in, I'm going to leave the group's link in the description box below, and you can join the group and come check out 30 days of prosperity. So one of the things that I'm talking about right now is how God, you know, is concerned about, mankind, total well-being, so that's basically what I'm sharing today, even through this video, showing you how God is concerned about our whole well-being. And so that's some of the things that I'm discussing, for 30 days of prosperity, showing, the listeners, and the viewers, how concerned God is about our life and our well-being, So, like I said, if you would like to, join in, I'm doing yeah, so for 30 days of prosperity, I'm discussing biblical prosperity, and how God is concerned about our lives here on earth as we live out the days of our lives here on earth, and how biblical prosperity is not just about one area. It encompasses many areas of our life, like such as joy, peace, of love, mental and physical health, and our finances, So, like I said, it's all encompassing of our well-being, our total well-being. And so I'm sharing with the ladies in the Facebook group, and showing them that in the videos. and the recording. So if you're interested in listening in or in watching, I'm going to leave the link for the Facebook group in the description box below. Okay. So yeah, make sure you come and join us. Okay. So that's all I have for today. God bless you and take care.